we're going to do a little game. Name association. I'm going to throw some sentences at you, some descriptions, and I want you to throw me just the first name that comes into your head. And for certain ones, I might ask you to elaborate a little bit as well. And I've got tons here. And the first one is the one that I always start with. It might as well be the Brad Armstrong memorial question. Funniest person in the locker room. Any locker room.
I'm going to say Dennis Knight.
Why Dennis? I've heard he does
He's
a good impression.
So funny, man. I can't. When I see him like at the Hall of Fames, he's just like one after another, joke after joke after joke, making me laugh. Dean Malenko was like that as well, but Dean's jokes, I appreciated the dry, corny sense of humor, but with Tex, it's like he's legitimately like cracking me up and nonstop, and he's always been like that. I'm surprised if you haven't heard that from anybody.
I'm trying to think, maybe once. It's generally Brad Armstrong who seems to come up on that one. Next one, I don't know how big of a drinker you were.
Can I say something on Brad Armstrong?
Please.
When I was like really young and green in WCW, so I'm 22 years old, just turned 22, and I'm tagging with Brad Armstrong. And synchronistically, I'm wrestling against Dennis and Dennis's partner, Mark Canterbury at that time. So the whatever they were, the Texas
Shanghai Pierce and Tex something.
And Tex Slazenger, they're probably back that time. And anyway, I was like so green. Dennis went up to the corner. There's a house show. And he said the name of the town, whatever it was, you know what I mean? Danby! Boo! I didn't know how to follow as the baby face. So I'm just standing there, and he comes over and he goes, hey, go up in the corner and say their name. And not only was I not sure what the name of the town was, I didn't exactly get what he was saying. And I took it more as just a suggestion, like, hey, you should do this. But I didn't realize, I didn't get the spot or whatever, and then I didn't do it. And that's one of the things I remember about it. But another thing was that Brad was so funny because it was something where like one of the heels were like, hey, ref, he pulled my hair or something like that. And I'm in the middle of the ring and talking to Brad, and he just said, he speaketh the non-truth. And it was just something, that. So it made me laugh because it told me what kind of state of mind he was in, and stuff. And that was for me, not everyone to hear, but he speaketh the non-truth to the ref or something. Yeah, it made me feel more comfortable and realize I didn't have to be so nervous and green.
I like that one. Next one, I don't know how much of a drink you were back in the day, but the last man standing at the bar.
Sandman.
That might as well be the Sandman memorial question. Smelliest wrestler?
I guess I'm going to have to go with Balls.
Most stiffest or most reckless wrestler you ever wrestled?
Yeah, these are all thought questions, thought-provoking. I used to really not want to wrestle Vader because he was blooding the noses up on jobbers like every week in WCW for a while, but I never did.
Were you there during like the Joe Thurman thing where it was all accidental, but I think he paralyzed a kid after a powerbomb or something? I don't know what era that was, but yeah.
I was in WCW at that time, and I remember thinking, man, I hope they don't put me together. But it was much like I always hoped I wouldn't wrestle Rikishi, and they want me to take the stink face, and that never happened either. I loved how stiff Bob Holly was. I looked forward to wrestling him because I had the reunited ECW spirit in my heart, and I knew what he was going to bring out of me. And at that point, I wanted that, and I knew that if he escalated, I would have the physicality that I would as well. And I knew that was going to happen, and it was going to be a beautiful chemistry in a competitive manner. So Bob Holly comes to mind. Everyone watches him and says, ooh, he looks a little snug with purpose in there. And he is.
I'm going to go for best and worst road agents. WWE, let's say.
Best and worst. Man, I don't like to say bad things.
Just say the best ones then if you don't want to throw anyone under the bus.
Okay. Well, I mean, Tim White was an agent. He didn't deal with the talent during my days, but he did because he would grab the talent for the Make a Wish and the contest winners and stuff. And he was probably my favorite, and um, I liked Arn, but a lot of what I liked about him was him leaving it up to me, when I had earned that, and he was like, I can't tell you anything that you don't already know. Just come back to me and let me know what you got in mind. And sometimes, for me, that it's the best agent because he's not sidestepping his job. He's being realistic with what's in front of him, and he's probably got other matches that do need certain attention and stuff like that. So I mean, Paul is going to be my favorite because he's the only, I don't know if you call him an agent. I guess it's sure, producer is what they call the agents there at that office. But either way, not only is he a genius and great at bringing out the strengths and hiding the weaknesses and of talent, but also he's got a great mind for just entertainment. And he's the only agent I've ever worked with that I felt truly understood me and had my best interest in mind. So if a biased answer is okay, I'm going to go with that.
Yeah, of course it is. You don't have to give the number if you don't want to, but the biggest WrestleMania
420.
payoff, 420,000. Best payoff in wrestling ever. I presume it's a WrestleMania.
You would be wrong about that.
Really?
And I'll say this, it was 5 digits, not 6 for RVD.
What event?
One night stand.
One night stand. Okay, I'm going to ask you a couple more, then we'll get to the best questions I can before our time is up. Loudest spot caller?
It's a funny question. I don't know.
I can give you a name that comes up often, if you like.
I guess that's better than a pass. What do you got?
Cena. That comes up quite a lot.
I don't have anyone that comes up, but I will fill in the blank with something. A lot of times I'll be wrestling people, especially when they're less experienced, which is everybody. And a lot of times I'll get the request, "Hey, talk to me out there." And of course I'm, "Oh yeah, no problem." A lot of times I don't at all. But I got to feel it out. Like if they feel lost, then I'm going to have to. But otherwise, I'm so into the commitment where I'm at that I'm expecting them to know until they tell me differently. And so even if they're expecting me to talk out there, a lot of times I'm too into it to even do that. And then afterwards, sometimes I'll be like, "Oh yeah, I guess they thought I was going to lead him a little," but if it's going well, then I'm not one to have my mouth open unless I'm trying to make the referee laugh or something.
Most memorable backstage fights that didn't involve you?
Trying to think of like ones that I actually saw, and that everything that pops in my mind is like things that I heard about, but I guess they're still more memorable than.
I can move on.
Well, okay. Well, let me just spit this out. I mean, I remember seeing Bob Holly hitting Renee with the back of the chair. That was like a one-sided fight, if you want to call it a fight. But Renee wasn't fighting back. And then it's memorable to me that Chavo wanted to take on Big Show one time, and he was letting him know. He was like, "Hey, I'll show you what you do to a big giant." He goes, "You want to see how big you are, my son? You don't talk to people the way you're talking to me right now. Just because I'm smaller than you, I'm going to show you why. You want me to show you why?" And I got a lot of respect for Chavo when I saw that, because Big Show was just like, "No, brother." He was like, I didn't mean to talk to you that way." And go ahead.
Oh, I was actually going to. Didn't Ray also challenge Big Show Giant to a fight one
I
time.
can't
That might be
imagine
WCW.
I can't imagine Ray Ray getting mad or in a fight
Well,
with anybody. I've certainly never heard that.